It's been a while. About 7 weeks since I last came to Misson Carr, a place that I love coming to, and for some reason, largely due to the weather probably, it's just not been worth coming up. But tonight's the night, the last of the warmer nights that we've had. Not as warm as they have been, but still pleasantly warm, with the temperature not forecasted to go below 15 degrees centigrade by the end of the night. 30th of May today, and so we should get a nice selection of moths. That's what I'm hoping. It's humid at the moment. There's a frontal system coming over the UK, well, this evening sometime, and it will lead to slightly fresher conditions onwards from tomorrow. So this is the best night probably for about a week, and it's a lovely evening at a fabulous location. Well, it's just a case of waiting for it to get dark here at Misson Carr. Might not seem much of a view to many people, but to me it represents isolation. That's one of the reasons why I like coming here, because you are pretty much as isolated as you can be in Nottinghamshire. Wide open fields here. And that's looking south. It's a nice vista, although where I'm trapping is much more enclosed, because where I trap here just inside the entrance is a great place for the best of both worlds. I'm ideally placed to get resident species that live and breed at Misson Carr, but also with that clear vista across the field, any migrant moths coming up from the south can be attracted to the light. Those two roe deer aren't attracted to the light. Well, we're off and running on the 30th of May here at Misson Carr at 21:55 as the light splutters into full brightness. Let's hope for a good night. It's certainly warm enough to encourage the moths. Well, one of the first moths in this evening is this very nicely marked pale prominent. It's a common species, and not just prominent in name, but one of the features of this moth are the two extremely long palps that the moth has at the head. When seen buzzing around the light and the sheet when first arriving at the light, you can tell these, because in the males the abdomen is usually longer than the length of the wings, and the wings are beautifully marked. Might not be colourful, might just be various shades of brown, but it's cryptically marked. It's a very attractive moth, and a species which we will see again in a second brood in a few weeks' time. And this one has chosen a rather unusual place to hang out while it's visiting the light. It's just on the side of one of the containers that contain the containers, so to speak. But a nice species, and this one was actually quite a small individual, but welcome nonetheless. Right, I best talk quickly about this, but this is a much larger species than the more numerous common swift which are in. This is a female ghost moth. The male ghost moth is pure white, and they often gather in groups, flying and hovering amongst long grasses at dusk. It's known as lekking. The females don't do that, and occasionally will turn up at light. And the females are very, very different to the males. Just 2-3 times the size of many common swift, and there's about 30 on the sheet. So this is a nice moth to get because it's beautifully marked and in total contrast to the plain white of the male. Well, here's the characteristic shape that you'll probably all recognise, and I will put some light on it in a minute, but I just thought this looked quite nice, a quite nice effect. We have, of course, a lime hawk moth, absolutely pristine example. This is not a species I really would have expected here due to the lack of limes, unless there is some lime tucked away somewhere in Misson Carr. But a lovely moth to get, our first hawk moth of the evening, and there are an increasing number of moths and flies around the light, but this is the most beautiful of them all. Well, it's been almost bedlam around the sheet. Lots of moths coming in and lots of other invertebrates too, and I'm constantly having to go around the sheet looking to see what's dropped in. Nothing totally outrageously uncommon at the moment, but a nice selection of species, and say the sky is really only just about dark, so it's a very busy trapping session. The species that have come in of note, so had good numbers of micro moths, almost half of the total number of species are micro moths, and that's nice to see because micro moths over the last couple of years haven't done so well. They improved last year, but otherwise their numbers were poor a couple of years ago, including at this place. But of note, let's just see what's come in. Yeah, small magpie, Anania hortulana. That's a lovely marked moth, that is. Very nice. And very common too. Notocelia trimaculana is a nicely marked tortrix moth. One to look out for. There's several Notocelia species, and you'll catch at least 2 or 3 of those no matter where you're trapped, to be honest. Agapita hamana, beautiful nice silver yellow moth, and a sister species has come in, Agapita zoegana. There's also cream bordered green pea I can see on the sheet in front of me, and in immaculate condition. That's not a micro moth. When I put a photo in, you might think, well, that's a tortrix species, but it isn't. It's actually a macro moth, and a nice one to get. I've had it here before, but this one looks a peach of a thing. So I'd best go round the sheet and pot up anything that warrants a closer investigation, and then we'll have to try and pull in a cup of tea and a chance. Well, it's nice to see that Misson Carr has once again produced the moths. Lots of moths around the sheet, coming in all the time. It's a very busy sheet, some new species for the year, which I will try and find the time and go through in a minute or two. There's a constant need to keep going around the sheet just to check what's come in. It's a very busy sheet, as you've seen, and I'm hoping that is conveyed through this video, just how many moths there are. Lots of micros tonight. In fact, there's far more micro moths than there are macro moths on the sheet, and there's a good selection too, but we have had some very colourful species, some of those that really make moth trapping worthwhile. And it is worthwhile. It's a fabulous hobby. It's a hobby that can produce very, very useful scientific results and data. And so if you ever thought about moth trapping, and a lot of people have and have taken it up as a result of seeing these videos, and there's been a number of people that have been thinking about restarting trapping after a lengthy period, but on the whole these videos have encouraged people to become interested in the hobby, whereas they might have only just been thinking about it and never got around to it. But amongst the moths that you'll catch if you're new to the hobby, or even if you've been trapping 30-40 years, there's some absolute beauties. And one tonight is barred yellow. It's one of my favourites, and if you think that butterflies are beautiful, there are some absolutely beautiful moths too. Barred yellow is one such moth. It's got yellow in the name, but it's more golden than yellow. Absolutely beautiful. I'll put a photo in here, and it's always been a favourite of mine, and it's fairly common too, and will turn up in your suburban garden and in your urban garden. I used to get it at home when I trapped at home. Another nice species is common emerald, which does exactly what it says on the tin, so to speak. It's common, will be found in urban gardens, and is a beautiful emerald green. It's a real cracker of a moth. And of course the other moth that we've had that's green is cream bordered green pea, which is actually a macro moth, so technically one of the larger moths, although there are many smaller moths, or the so-called micro moths, that are larger than cream bordered green pea. But it's a beautiful species, very like tortrix. Can easily be mistaken for green oak tortrix, but green oak tortrix isn't flying at the moment. That is to come in a week or so. So there's been some really nice species that have come to the light. Peach blossom is another one, first one of the year, and I can see it sat on the box, but I need to make tracks to the other side of the box to see if anything else has come in. But we're on to 50+ species, and a good night is being had by all. It's not very often peach blossoms stick around, so I thought here's an opportunity while there's a little lull in the activity. Beautiful thing though, isn't it? Absolutely. And here's a nice thing. This is beautiful hook tip. I think there are two in at the light. I think one sat on the box, but may not look beautiful. Strangely shaped wings, yes, but they are, when photographed in daylight or natural light, they're absolutely beautiful. As you can see, a range of micros trying to get in on the picture too. And an immaculate elephant hawk moth, and what was an equally immaculate green carpet. You can see the problem that I have, but what a moth that is. It's a stunning species. I know I say that a lot, but we have some beautiful moths here in the UK. very much underrated are some species. But elephant hawk moth, it pleases two camps, those that like big moths and those that like their moths beautifully coloured. I've just stepped away from the hectic moth trap. You can see how many moths are around it. And sometimes it does you good just to get away, just stretch your legs for 5–10 minutes and then just see what new has arrived. A lovely setting, beautifully quiet here. And if I show you the other way, clouds beautifully lit by that moon. The only other lights, the red lights of one of the power stations, I believe. It's funny because when I trap at Besthorpe, well, Besthorpe is the opposite side of those red lights. We'll carry on the theme of the big and the beautiful. Here's a rather small poplar hawk. Seems actually quite small, but nonetheless still a beautiful moth and a nice large moth that a lot of people like. Hawk moths are certainly impressive things, and poplar hawk moth is certainly one of them. And here's a pristine light emerald, beautiful moth and fairly common species too. The marker at the side is one of the Notacelias. It's Notacelia trimaculana, and so there are several species of Notacelia, but the light emerald is a real beauty. I've just been trying to film a pebble hook tip, but after several attempts I've given up because it's just getting barged around the sheet. I do have a little bit of footage, but you can see why it's virtually impossible to film anything. 3 poplar hawk moths in now. The lime hawk moth is still here, as is the elephant hawk moth. Plenty of other moths. It's just so nice to see so many micro moths on the sheet this evening. A long time since I've seen that. And a rare chance that a clouded border here has stopped to be filmed. They're always on the go and rarely settling, and this one's going to be off too. But nice just to see it while it was there. Well, we have rain. Rain was forecasted for a little bit later, but needs must and electrics and all that. So a quick pack up it is. And of course now the rain has stopped. But it's still been a great session, and there will be other times and chances and opportunities to visit Misson Carr again, and that's what we'll be doing.